Hi, it's me, Caribbean Andy. Today I wanted to do a video talking about how to get a job as a bartender. Normally I do cocktail videos, but there's so many cocktail video channels out there, I thought, what unique perspective do I have to offer? And so much, really. Not just about cocktail recipes. So, still gonna do cocktail videos, the new one every Tuesday. Make sure you're subscribed. And I thought, maybe every Friday for at least a little while, I can do more videos where I talk about bartending, both professionally and at home. So make sure you are subscribed if that's something that appeals to you. If it doesn't appeal to you, let me know in the comments down below. Maybe I'll stop doing it altogether. So as far as getting a bartending job, a lot of you who have come upon this video might be thinking, can I get a bartending job with absolutely no experience? And the simple answer is yes. You can definitely get a job with no experience. There are neighborhood bars, even corporate restaurants, like all sorts of different scenarios. They may hire you as a bartender with no restaurant experience at all. Now, what you should be asking yourself is, do I want to get a job with no experience? And I say the answer to that is no. While you may be able to pick things up and learn, I've worked with people who have only ever been bartenders, and I've worked with a lot of people who have been bussers, food runners, dishwashers, line cooks. I've worked with so many people who have had such a wide array of hospitality jobs before they started bartending, and those are the people who I want to be working alongside. If this is something you're interested in doing just to make a little bit of extra money, then yeah, go ahead. Get a job pouring draft beer and making vodka sodas at your local neighborhood bar. But if you want to start a career, if you want to make a career out of serving drinks, you need to have a resume that has all of those mixed experiences. You need to have an understanding of every facet of the hospitality industry to be a great bartender. That probably seems a little dramatic, but I think, regardless, the way to get started is by working as a busser or a barback. The other thing you might be wondering is there some kind of class that I can take? Should I be getting a certification? No, you shouldn't. The only way you are going to learn to be a good bartender is through experience. That's the thing that matters the most. And whether you have the knowledge doesn't really matter at all, because you don't know how to execute that knowledge. You can't learn from a bartending school how to juggle multiple tables or customers at a time, how to make sure you're washing glasses while you're also preparing cocktails and ringing in food orders. You can't really teach that to somebody. In terms of learning, if you want to be somebody who's educated, there's so many free and affordable resources out there to learn about cocktails. YouTube is a great example. There's so many different cocktail channels that can teach you about the history of drinks, and so much other fun information. But also keep in mind, not every bar manager out there knows all of those pieces of information. A lot of people making cocktail videos don't necessarily have the same real life experiences. They've studied what they need to know to make these videos. There's also a lot of, obviously, cocktail books out there, and you can learn that information. But at the end of the day, every bar and restaurant is going to have their specific set of practices and processes in place. And those are the things that you're going to need to adhere to. So you don't want to have to really learn things to then unlearn them and have to retrain yourself. So I would say definitely don't get any kind of certification or pay any money to take classes, but to have sort of a cursory knowledge of basic cocktails, that is definitely worthwhile. But also just keep in mind that, once you get a job and some experience under your belt, what your boss tells you is the way to make an old-fashioned or Manhattan might be different than what you saw on YouTube. So again, just keep an open mind and work towards getting that experience under your belt. Now, as far as, okay, well, I'm saying no, don't get a job as a bartender right away. Don't go to bartending school. Where should you go to get that first hospitality experience? And to me, I think that the best choice would be to find, no matter where you live, if you live in a small city or a big city, pretty much anywhere in the United States, probably in the world, there's probably a small to medium-sized restaurant group. Maybe they own 5 to 10 restaurants in your area. I've worked for companies like this in a small city like Pittsburgh, and I worked for a company like this in a giant city like Los Angeles. These are companies that are very experienced in training people and grooming their staff and are going to promote from within. These are also companies that need a lot of employees to function. So what I would recommend doing, actually, you can go on Craigslist. Craigslist is still a great resource for jobs in the hospitality industry. I'm a big fan of anyone who might be offering open interviews, especially if you're going in with no experience. Then you get the opportunity to sell your personality without having to sell yourself with a resume first. You're put right there in front of somebody. So if you do see open interviews, I always recommend going to them. Also, it's a great way to practice being interviewed. So look for open interviews on Craigslist. That's tip number 1 on finding a job. Number 2, there's actually a website called Culinary Agents, which in smaller markets, it might not be used quite as much, but it's basically like LinkedIn for hospitality professionals, and there's lots of jobs posted there. So I would definitely check that out, cross-reference that for different job openings. And then finally, identify what those restaurant and hospitality groups are. Just type in your city plus hospitality into Google, and you'll probably have a few show up. Hospitality group, restaurant group, those are easy keywords. You're probably pretty familiar with what they might be, and they're going to have a corporate website, just like anything else. And go and look for their open jobs. Look for things like busser, barback, food runner. Those are jobs that don't really require much experience, but once you're in those positions, you're going to be going to pre-shift meetings every day. You're going to be discussing the product that you have in the building. You're going to be dropping off food. You're going to be clearing items. You're going to be touching bottles of liquor to stock for the bartender. And that's going to get you really familiar with things like how people move around one another throughout a restaurant. That sort of a learned behavior. Things like what to do with broken glasses, things like how things are organized, and just, general dishwashing sort of maintenance. So seek out those medium-sized restaurant groups and look for opportunities in their support positions. Also, a lot of those jobs might be part-time. Maybe some restaurants only need a busser on the weekends. So, before you go ahead and give up whatever your current career is, don't quit your coffee shop job or your lawyer job because you want to be a bartender. This is a really great way to, maybe you have to give up your weekend nights for a little while, but it's a great way to sort of get a taste of what the experience of working in hospitality is like. In terms of, also get used to giving up your weekend nights if this is actually something you want to do. A common way to find any job is through referrals. So you should reach out to pretty much anyone you know who works in a bar or restaurant, because even if where they work isn't hiring, or if they're not in the position to do the hiring, they definitely know a lot of people who work in the hospitality industry. It can be a pretty insular community in good ways and bad. So they'll know places that might be looking for people. I have also read articles advising people to, go to some bars, try and be friendly with the bar staff. Don't do that. That's not how you get a job. If you are looking for a bar or restaurant job, treat yourself as though you're a vampire. do not go to that establishment unless you have been invited in. There, especially now, there are so many ways to communicate without first making direct contact. And you can reach out through social media before you just show up somewhere and ask to talk to a manager. Also, if you are showing up in person, you are likely doing so when that bar or restaurant is open. So you have now become nothing but a nuisance. I can't tell you the number of times someone has walked in, asked for a job application during lunch rush or during happy hour, and as soon as they walk out, we all then stop what we're doing, look at each other like, what's wrong with that person? And then go back about our day. So don't show up, don't ask to speak to a manager, do all of the other things that I said. Once you have that job, how do you move forward? Well, obviously, you need to do a good job. And hopefully you'll be recognized for your hard work and move forward. But I would say also, you know, once you have spent some time there, maybe after 3 months of working as a busser or server assistant, you know, express that you want to do more. Make sure your managers know why you're there. Make sure they know that you care about it. Be friendly and helpful to the bar staff. Don't let them take advantage of you. But certainly be nice if you have the time and the energy to help out. Offer to do so. Also, go in with a good attitude. You know, I worked for a corporate job where we actually had little cards that we had to carry around as reminders of what our personalities were supposed to be like every day, which sounds crazy. But one of the things it said on there was choose your attitude. And that is something that I think comes up in a lot of corporate trainings and gets dismissed because it might feel a little bit hokey. But at the end of the day, the work you have to do is not going to change. You might have to spray out a dumpster with a hose. You might have to catch mice. You might have to do some really gross things and some hard labor that you don't want to do. But you always have a choice in how you feel about it. So, you know, thinking that you get to do that because you are on the path to becoming a bartender, that is a much better attitude than I work too hard. I deserve more than this. I should be paid more. That's thinking negatively about what you're doing is not going to get you anywhere. So definitely going in with a positive attitude is probably going to go much further than anything else. And you'll probably find throughout your journey in the hospitality field that there's a lot of people there who don't have positive attitudes. And often those are the people who, you know, might be in as a server and they're complaining about the circumstances, why they don't get to be a bartender. Or more likely, they're complaining about the circumstances of their life outside of the restaurant every day while they're at work. So yeah, I think that pretty much summarizes it. And if you watch this video, you can be a bartender in as little as a year. The other thing to acknowledge right now is probably not a time when a lot of bars are hiring. We're in the midst of a pandemic. Maybe you found this video 6 months from when I posted it, and it's 2021 and you're trying to get a bartending job. Well, great. I should change the title of the video then. But the big thing is that, you know, bars are an institution. Bars and restaurants aren't going to go away. They are businesses that are a major part of our society. And I think there's a lot of people who really spent this time during their lockdown and periods of social isolation who, you know, have decided they want a career change. And maybe you're one of them. Maybe you're somebody who decided you don't want a 9-to-5 job anymore. There's also probably a lot of servers and bartenders out there who are thinking they don't want to deal with the public anymore. So I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunity to begin a career in hospitality. And if you're interested in food and beverage, then definitely go for it. You know, try it out. What's the worst that could happen? I also think a really great resource for you is this YouTube channel. Go ahead, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment down below, ask any questions you want about working as a bartender, and make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications. All right, that's all the stuff I'm gonna beg you to do for today. Hopefully I've, you know, shed a little bit of light on the process of getting these kinds of jobs. And I'll see you back here again soon.